Welcome everyone to this episode of Every Rock Has a Story. Today we're going to talk about the most toothy sample that I have on the table. I'm sure you've noticed it. It is this one right here. I'm going to try to pick it up. It's still very delicate and it comes in two parts. The bottom part comes off. But if we put that back on, this incredible fossil with those giant saber teeth. Look at those sharp, long teeth. That's why they call this guy a saber-toothed tiger. Maybe you've heard of a saber-toothed tiger, but you haven't seen one because saber-toothed tigers went extinct about, 10, 20,000 years ago. So we know right off the bat that the story I'll be telling today is about ancient life. This fossil saber-toothed tiger actually takes us back 40,000 years. And it takes us and it takes me to California. I used to live in Los Angeles. And I lived right on Beverly Boulevard. Some of you might know Beverly Boulevard if you've ever been to Los Angeles. And we lived just one block away from a place called the Los Angeles Farmers Market. Everybody wanted to go to the farmers market. Everybody heard about it because there was so much great food in there. There was fresh produce and vegetables, and there were meats and barbecue and food from all over the world. There was everything to eat at the farmers market. So everybody would rush to the farmers market. We'd all dive in and we would just eat all the good food. Sometimes you felt like when you went into the farmers market, it was hard to get out because it was so much fun in that farmers market. Well, it turns out if you go just one block south of the farmers market, you come to another place called the Brea Tar Pits. Now, the Brea Tar Pits, just beyond the farmers market, is a real natural place right in the middle of the huge city of Los Angeles where tar, black, sticky tar, seeps up from deep in the earth, up through cracks and fissures and bubbles out onto the surface. That tar is the remains of ancient leafy material, kind of like the oil in our oil shale from episode 9, and kind of like the coal from our energy rock from episode 16. Well, I want you to imagine 40,000 years ago, a time called the Pleistocene. This was the Ice Age, the Great Ice Age. It was much colder in Los Angeles and around the world. There was no ice in Los Angeles. The ice caps were further north. But during the Pleistocene Ice Age, there were huge, huge lumbering beasts. And sometimes one of those giant, giant lumbering beasts of the Pleistocene, like a giant sloth, would be padding along, and maybe he comes up a little too close to that tar pit. And that giant sloth steps into the tar, and he gets stuck. Can't move his foot. So maybe he tries to get his balance and then reaches across. Second foot gets stuck. And he struggles and struggles and struggles around, but he gets completely stuck in the tar. And then maybe a giant, even bigger mammoth comes by, and she steps her foot in the tar, makes the same mistake that the sloth did. And she struggles and struggles, and she falls over. Second foot falls in the tar. She falls over sideways and tries to wiggle out, but she gets stuck in the tar. Imagine if you are a pack of direwolves. Hungry direwolves in the Ice Age 40,000 years ago, and you come walking along and you see a giant mammoth or a giant sloth all stuck in that tar. You know what you see? You see dinner. And that's what those direwolves, they said, whippy, we're going to dive right in. Just like I dived into the farmer's market to get those snacks. Everybody wanted to dive in to the Brea Tar Pits. And they did. The direwolves drove in and they started to eat their dinner. But then guess what happened to the direwolves? They got one foot stuck. And they struggled around and they got another foot stuck. And the more they struggled, they get completely stuck in the tar. And then, last of all, Sabertooth. Up on the high hill, looked down and he saw, I can see there are giant woolly mammoths. I can see there are giant sloths. And now there are direwolves and they're in their tar pit for me to go and eat my dinner. And so the Sabertooth leapt and he ran down into the tar pits and he tried to get his dinner. And then what happened to the Sabertooth? He got a foot stuck. And then another foot stuck. And then he struggled around. And he too got stuck in the Brea Tar Pits. If you go to the Brea Tar Pits today, paleontologists are now digging down into those ancient tar pits, and they're finding perfectly preserved skeletons of a few giant sloths, a few woolly mammoths, lots and lots and lots of direwolves, and saber-toothed tigers, like this one that came out of the Brea Tar Pits. The story of that incredible paleontologic fossil discovery, a fossil treasure trove of all those Pleistocene age giant animals, is so unique. The tar actually helps preserve all those fossils perfectly. Saber-toothed tiger. Quite a nasty predator, but he fell prey to that same trap. He saw that yummy food, he couldn't help himself from diving in, and he got stuck.
And now let's kick this rock over to Ronita to hear her story.
Hi, I'm Ronita. Today we're standing in Tophet Chasm in Littleton. This is where you will find my favorite rock, schist. We happen to be standing right at the place where two tectonic plates meet. So what is a tectonic plate? Well, just imagine the whole world being on the surface of the solid plates that float on top of pudding. These plates move around. When they meet, earthquakes can result. We are standing at the exact spot where the Neshoba plate met the Merrimack plate millions of years ago. This place is along the Clinton-Newberry fault line. Phew, I'm so glad that these plates are no longer moving. Well, what do the tectonic plates have to do with the schist? Schist is a metamorphic rock formed under intense heat and pressure, kind of like the pressure that exists when two tectonic plates meet. Schist forms from mudstone or shale. Here are a few facts about schist. Schist is a beautiful rock. Look at the shiny pieces of mica in the rock. You can also sometimes see deep red garnets in the rock. Garnets are semi-precious stones. Here are a few pieces of schist I found. You can see the shiny mica pieces if you look closely. What a cool rock formed from forces deep below the earth. That is why schist is my favorite rock. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!
Wow, Ronita, that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story about your favorite rock, schist. You even took us to the outcrops where you collected it. And the editing, oh my goodness, we need to hire you in the studio for our future episodes. Thanks for sharing that story, Ronita. We'll see all of you next time.